Okay, I'm running down. I think the basic thing to realize is that the parties don't give us decent candidates. And if they're not going to do it, it's going to be up to us to find decent candidates. Now, I don't know what rock or tree you're going to find them in. They got to be out there. They got to be people who the last thing they want to do is be in politics. You know, there's probably a lot of, upper middle class people running their own businesses, They're good family people, men and women. They maybe know some history. They maybe know about how you get along with people. They may be willing to learn. They're probably really humble. The last thing they'd think about, last thing they'd have an egotistic desire to do is to be in Congress or be President of the United States. You'd probably have to drag them kicking and screaming. But if you want to form a political group that's going to do something for the future of the United States of America, start forming a group looking for people of character. They're not going to be in politics. The way politics is set up right now, the last thing that happens is that it's attractive to people of character. Now, this is not to say that no politician has character. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying the system, the way it's developed itself, is designed to force possible candidates to set character aside, and anybody who has any real character never really takes an interest. They're too busy getting things done, And that's probably a good sign, a good thing to look for. You look for people who have done something. And you look for people who show some character, And one of the ways they show character is having been through adversity. We have this idea that maybe a person of character is a person who's never been to jail, never had a problem with alcohol or drugs, never gotten divorced. Well, I hate to tell you, but having an easy life doesn't necessarily come from having character. It may be just because you're willing to conform and take the easy middle road. People with character, they got tire tracks on them. They've been knocked down and run over a few times. Then they stood up. They had some adversity and they stood up. Another thing adversity gives you, is it humbles you, George W. Bush, wow, there was a guy. I don't think he's got a humble bone in him. Even after what he and his cronies did to the United States of America for 8 years. Guy doesn't even know how to form the conception that maybe they did some really bad stuff. And Obama and his crew, they're not much different. They are a bit elitist. There are a bunch of guys that get up there and say, well, we're smarter than you. We have a better idea. A guy with some character is going to come in and say, well, I don't know what the hell to do. Can you sort of tell me what you think we ought to do? you know, and he sits down and he listens. Wouldn't that be a kick-ass town meeting, right? The candidate comes in and he gets a bunch of people in a circle. And instead of standing in the center with his microphone, I think, and occasionally answering a question and then making out his bullshit reply, he sits down in the circle, not in the center of the circle. He sits out there with everybody else and he says, well, you know, I think basic, ordinary people in America are very smart about a lot of stuff. So let's talk about some fundamental things, you know, and I'll throw a question out because that maybe is what I can do. I can ask you a good question and then you guys talk about it and I'll listen. And maybe the first question I'll throw out there is one that really puzzles me, which is why do we believe in this conservative and liberal and left and right stuff? Does that have anything to do with reality? I mean, I don't go to the doctor and ask him what his politics are. I don't go to the farmer and look at his produce and ask him what his politics are. I don't go to the soldier and ask him what his politics are. I want to know whether there's any good at being a doctor, or whether there's any good at being a soldier, or whether there's any good at being a farmer. And yet, what's the first thing we do with a guy who wants to be a representative in Congress? We ask him what his politics are. What's that got to do with anything? Does that in any way, shape, or form have anything to do with the kinds of questions we need answered about how to make this country work right? Do modern political ideas, in the form and shape in which they are presented, have anything to do with any of our real problems? Now that's my question to you people. I'm going to sit back and I want to listen to you debate it and talk about it. But it seems to me, and you can prove me wrong, but it seems to me that all political dialogue is pretty much crap. And we've got to talk about something else. We want to talk about reality. We want to talk about sanity. We want to talk to each other instead of at each other or past each other. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving. You know what? I am grateful. I'm grateful to be alive. I'll be 70 in December. You know. But I sure am puzzled about why the citizens of this country sort of sit on their ass most of the time. You know? Saving America from ourselves. Yeah, that's the thing. We can't slough it off on the politicians anymore. What's going to happen next depends on the citizens, what we do or don't do. Enjoy your turkey. Enjoy your football. And think about participating more in our public life. Because I can guarantee the tsunami of history is going to come along and just wash the American experiment into the ocean, and there'll be nothing left here but people that look like sheep. And the wolves will be running the whole place. Ta-da.